And welcome back, Firewood Addicts, to another episode of Travis vs. Firewood. Today we're talking about Pickaroons. Alright, so I don't know where to begin on this episode. I've been whittling away at this fur off camera because, in all honesty, I need to get it done. I need to get it done as soon as possible. And there's not a lot to it that you all haven't seen before. It's wood, you cut it, you split it, you stack it, and I don't want to bore you with that. There's other channels who do that. I don't want to bore you with that. But if you want to see what's going on, I'll show you in a second. So we got wood here, splitters here, and I got the middle rounds. Still some logs over there, but the middle here, I've just been whittling away. Just been splitting. And there would be rack wood and bundle wood, some bonfire wood, but most of the bonfire wood is over here. I'll pan down for you. This is my bonfire wood here. So a lot of work has been done. It's a lot of good wood, a lot of straight grain, some knotty stuff, which is okay. But as you can tell, like rounds like that, or even halves like that one there, or any of these rounds here, they're just big. They are gigantic, where a log lift would be ideal. But currently I don't have a log lift. So what I'm doing is, what I've said before is, I'll noodle partway into the round, and then I'll use a metal wedge and a small sledgehammer, and I'll split it that way. And then if I can't get it with the small sledge, then I'll bring out the big guns. I'll bring out the bigger sledgehammer or a maul, and that seems to work good. So again, I do that because I'm able to physically, I'm not too tired, and I don't want to bring too much wear and tear on the head of the chainsaw as well as wear out my chain. I'd rather cut into it a little bit so this metal wedge can get a start. If I don't, it's just gonna bounce off, right? So I have a slit to slit into, and I'll start it with the small sledgehammer, and then I'll run it home with a maul or a bigger sledge. And that seems to work. Now I could do a test of which is faster, and yes, I want to get this done, but again, I think it's maybe a few seconds difference versus taking the time to noodle through all the way through with a chainsaw versus cutting a little bit through a chainsaw and doing that multiple times. Stop the chainsaw or set it aside, and then pull out the metal wedge and the sledgehammer and go to town and making halves or quarters. And I think that is time well spent and not wearing too much on your body as well as your chainsaw. That's just my 2 cents. If you have another way, let me know down in the comments. But that's what I'm doing with this stuff because I can't pick it up by hand. But there are other tools that we can use. So, and I think you're aware of what those are. Let me show you. So I got this sent to me by Brandon over at Whiskey River Trading Co. As a gift for the channel. I think I hit, I think there was 1,000 subs, or he was on my podcast, and I mentioned to him that I didn't have one. So he graciously sent me one. Actually sent me two, one to keep and one to give away for my 1,000 sub giveaway. And I forget who got that. I think that was Mike over at Rusty Garage and Homestead. And I think that Mike is enjoying that product. So this is a 28-inch long handle Pickaroon or Hookaroon, however you want to. I think that's a tool. Officially calls it a Pickaroon. If I'm wrong, let me know down in the comments. And I believe this is a 1.5 weighted head on it. Okay. Now this is nice. I appreciate the length. I appreciate how there's a curve at the end where my pinky has to stop, and I can swing it with ease because it's not too heavy, and get it in there enough to pick up a round or a chunk of wood. Now, I was fearful for the longest time to use this because I didn't want to impale myself. I didn't want to stick myself, my leg, my shin, my knee, my foot with the edge of this, because this is nasty. this thing can definitely pierce skin. And if you're gonna give it like a full swing, you know, into wood, and if you miss and hit yourself, that's gonna hurt. So the longest time I was fearful, kind of like running a chainsaw for the first time when I first got into firewood. I was scared, but I think that fear is healthy. The fear is healthy so you don't hurt yourself, but to find that balance, right? So I have learned to use this, but a lot of the wood that we get here in the PNW is big. I'm not gonna lift like some of these rounds with this thing. This is not possible. So what I'm going to show you is, I guess, my technique, and you can critique if you want to, and then we'll go from there. So I got some chunks next to me here. Let's see what the champion can do to it, and we'll go from there. Oh, sorry, one more thing I forgot, just real quick. When I am not using the champion or it's in transportation mode around my yard, or I'm done for the day, my Pickaroon stays right here. The hook of it goes in this hole like this, and the end of it rests near the throttle, where the little the in and out cable handle, there we go, handle goes in and out, and that seems to stay put right there. So yes, probably no good idea to have this be outside the whole time. The handle has weathered wear on it, but at least I know it's not going to go anywhere, and it fits right here, rock and roll. So that if you have one of these splitters, that's where to put it. Now I want to do an episode of how better to put this on the splitter to make it easier to be accessible, but that's a different episode for a different time. Stay tuned for that one. Alright, so you saw me use the counselor tool Pickaroon 28-inch handle and swinging it, I guess, like a baseball bat, trying to get down in there. So the benefit of having this is so you don't have to, in theory, bend down to grab something and pick it up. I mean, use your legs, right? If you're going to do that, use your leg, not your back. But pick it up and like put it down on here. But again, you're not going to lift a massive fur round with this thing by yourself. So it has to be small enough for you to actually lift. Now, as you saw, what I tend to do is I'll stick it in, and then I'll end up choking up on the handle and then lifting it onto the gate, and then I have to kind of like wiggle it and then do a little bang, 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 which is like on the handle here, to get this out. So maybe my technique is flawed. Let me know how you do it. I haven't researched on pro tips or techniques or whatever until have I even used a Pickaroon. Maybe I should, I don't know. But that's how I used it, and I tend to maybe sink the tip in too long. But this is a great tool to have in the wood yard. It's not only for splitting. Now when you're in a truck or a trailer and you want to move things around, or you want to reach across and kind of grab, this is good for that, because that really sharp edge, right? A sharp edge to get the thing. So I think too, I mean, I guess I think a lot of us who have an axe use the tip of an axe too to kind of grab things and turn things over. You can do the same thing with Pickaroon as well. So that's this tool, and I think it's handy. But I want to do a comparison here and see if it's not apples and oranges, very similar, or if I like it better. So let's do this. So yeah, the other day my friends over at Northern Woodsman sent me another product to check out for them. I guess review, I don't know what you would call it, but I showed some interest in this, and they said, heck, let me send you one and you show it off and see what your viewers think about this thing. Now this is, I don't think this is a new product. Why does this tape give me a hard time? Come on, tape, get out of here. Next time I use a chainsaw. I don't think that this product is new to the market, but it's, I guess, new to me. Well, it's new to my, it's brand new, shipped from Northern Woodsman, right? But it's a new item here. Ooh, that's nice. That is nice. Ooh, is anything else in here? Ooh, this is nice. This is from a LogRite, okay? LogRite brand. You've seen this on other channels before, I'm sure, but this is a little bit different. Aluminum handle with this grip on it. Ooh, that's a nice grip. That feels real nice. I'm not sure what sap will do if you got sap on this, but a little bit longer than the council tool. So you got the head there, okay, then you got the length. Okay, see the difference there? That's quite the difference in length there. Yeah, that's nice. So LogRite aluminum handle. This is 30 inches, okay? Blue. I'm not sure, they come in different colors. First impressions from the box, I do like it. I do like how the blue stands out. The brown here just kind of blends in everything. When you're in a rush, when you're tired, when you're working, the blue pops. Okay, if you miss it, you won't misplace it because the blue pops. I do want to paint some of my tools a bright orange to make sure that I can see them when I'm in the wood yard. So let's check out the tip here. Check out the tip. Oh yeah, that's sharp. I don't know if you see that or not. Can you see that okay? See that tip there? See that tip? I don't know. See that? That's quite sharp. I'm sure I could dull that in a heartbeat. Now I'm not sure about this. I can talk to a Northern Woodsman, but I'm not sure if this tip is replaceable or not. But you definitely do not want this thing stuck in your leg or your foot. So we're gonna test this out and see how it does in comparison. You with me? Rock and roll. All right, so that was interesting. That was interesting, comparing or using the LogRite 30-inch handle as well as the council tool 28-inch. So the biggest thing I can see is that it was easier for me, at least for me, maybe I'm using it incorrectly. Again, you all can correct me down below, but it was easier for me to swing into it and then, well, I mean, not necessarily to swing into it and pick it up. What I'm trying to say, it was easier for me to, when I got the chunk onto the table here, it was easier for me to get the hook off the wood, not have to like do this or this a bunch of times. It was easy just to kind of like maybe hit once, do this once, jerk it once, and then it pops out. Versus the council tool, getting that in there and having to really do a little jig and a little tap-a-roo on it to get it out. And maybe it's design of the two hooks. Now the two hooks are definitely similar in how they look, definitely how they point, but definitely the LogRite is narrower than the council tool. Longer? I don't know. I think they're about the same length, but girth-wise, maybe the council tool a little bit more girthy. But that's the biggest difference that I noticed. Nice to be able to reach over and grab stuff with the LogRite, but that extra two inches or so, whatever you have on the LogRite, you can definitely do with the council tool. Now, I'm a shorter guy, so my arm length is not as far as some of you, but I think it's nice having the extra reach with both these. Now, weight-wise, I think they're similar. I mean, maybe you're talking about half a pound at most. I'm not sure. With this one, I need to ask a Northern Woodsman though. I wonder if you can replace this hook if it got damaged or not. I think maybe there's a way to take out these pins and get it to be replaced. Whereas if you break This head, with the tip, you just have to replace the whole thing. Either you probably get a new handle, a new head, or just buy a whole new thing altogether. Cost-wise, I'm not sure the difference. I think these two are pretty much comparable in terms of cost. So, but I will say that, I mean, I guess I'm known in my family for being hard on things, but I think tools are made to be tools. They're tools, so you use them and you work them hard. I mean, yes, I mean not bang them up on purpose, but I guess I'm guilty of leaving this council tool outside, and that's not maybe good for the wooden handle. Now, granted, this LogRite has the aluminum handle, and aluminum not going to rust on you. Lightweight tool, and I don't see where it's going to harbor any moisture, and this is going to last. So difference in material use of the wooden handle versus the LogRite, which is aluminum handle. So I think that was the bigger difference. I guess one of the benefits, if this is important to you, I think it's important to a lot of us, that both council tool and LogRite are made in America. Now, maybe certain parts are manufactured overseas and then they are put together here, but I think that's one benefit is you're going to buy locally made products, and they're going to be good, and the price point isn't that bad. Now, granted, you could take an axe head, shave it down, cut it down, and make your own Pickaroon, Hookaroon head, then have to mount it to here. Whereas having to spend the money on once already made, I think that your money ahead, just buying one, either a LogRite or council tool, I think it's money well spent. It's money well spent. Now, I have two now, so I think that is a benefit. Will I jab two at the same time and pull them up? Probably not. I think that I'm asking for an injury there. So definitely be careful when you're using these. But I think that these are cool products and cool tools to use. And now this is the first time I've used the LogRite, and I definitely used the council tool more so in the wood yard. I guess my biggest gripe with the council tool is that it's difficult for me to get the hook out of the wood. And like I said before, the LogRite seemed to do a better job of getting the hook out of the wood so I can continue splitting. Having to fill around and not get the hook out of there is kind of a pain in the butt. So initial reaction or thoughts, reviews, feedback is that I like this one better because I can get it out of the wood easier. But maybe that's user error, perhaps. I don't know. You let me know down in the comments. But I do appreciate both. They are good tools. So that's the only thing that I can think of. Also, one thing I want to point out is the difference. One big difference between the LogRite, a 30-inch handle, and the council tool, a 28-inch handle, is if you're used to using axes, or if you're used to having a Pickaroon or Hookaroon with an axe-like handle, you know that with your hand you're gripping it here, you understand where the orientation of the hook is, or the orientation of the axe head, the axe blade, right? When your hand grips like this, you know the orientation, where the LogRite handle is round, circular. So you can have your hand anywhere on this grip, this nice firm black grip here, and you won't know the orientation where this hook is going to go. So you can't just grab and hook. You can't just grab and pick. You have to grab it and then look at where the hook is before you go swinging this bad boy around. I just used this a few times off camera. You didn't see it, and I completely missed. I completely missed the mark on where I wanted to hit because I was so used to using the council tool, holding it on with one hand and knowing the orientation of where the hook is going to be, and I can swing it around without looking where my hand is. Whereas with the LogRite, I have to grip on, maybe two hands if you want to, and make sure that you know the orientation of where the hook is before you go swing it around, because you may be a hit and a miss. In doing so, you may, I'm just saying may mess up that tip. May hit a rock, and then that tip is now chipped, is now broken, and now your LogRite tool it's not necessarily unusable, but now it's dull, not as sharp as it was before. So one extra step to make sure that you grab onto that nice grip handle and you look at it and make sure that you are going to swing, you're going to hit the mark, you're going to hit that wood exactly where you want it, where your tip is. Where if you're going to grab it, again, you're going to grab it, and now look, you could go like this, and then you're going to hit nothing. You're going to hit the head. You're going to be a swing and a miss, folks. So I mean, sorry, I'm not trying to be funny about it, but the point is the cancel tool has axe-like grip handle, and so you know the orientation, where the LogRite cylinder, and you don't know where your hand may be. Now I could draw lines that is in line with the pick all the way down the shaft, the handle, all the way down here, draw lines on this handle here, so I know where my knuckles need to be. Not knuckles will more or less be in line. Knuckles be in line with where the hook comes out at 90 at the handle. I could do that. I'm just saying it's one more thing to think about. Okay, so if you're in the market for a Pickaroon and you seem that the LogRite is going to be a good fit for you at your price range, I say go ahead and pull the trigger. It's just something, it's a good tool to have around the wood yard. You see other channels have them. I'm sure you may already have them, but if you want a second one, or your first one's all worn out, you can't go wrong with the LogRite. So from now until the end of the month, at Northern Woodsman, you can get this LogRite, the LogRite Hookaroon. I guess they call it Hookaroon and not Pickaroon. The LogRite Hookaroon 30-inch aluminum handle for 15% off. That's right, 15% off. There's code down below, Hook15. So if you want to spend the money and grab yourself a new tool, I think this is worth its weight in gold to have around. Save your body, save your back. 15% off, Hook15 over at Northern Woodsman. Check them out. They have a whole ton of good stuff in there. But if you're in the market for Hookaroon / Pickaroon, what do you want to call it? I think LogRite calls it a Hookaroon. Hook15, 50% off at Northern Woodsman. Check them out. Dig it. All right, so final thoughts. Shorter is better than longer. If it's too long, you feel it right away in your wrist and your forearm. I think this tool works best to shorten your reach, but not limit it altogether. So the LogRite is definitely much lighter than the wood and steel versions of a Pickaroon. So that's a highlight. I think a light swing is probably better. I need to get better at my swing and make sure that it's just enough force to have the tip penetrate the wood, but not too deep, which is what I think I did with the council tool. If you want to have less penetration, you could purposely dull the tip, but that is all personal preference. So again, the blue does stand out in the yard versus the wooden handle and the metal head. This is all the camouflage, where this one here with the bright aluminum or metal tip and the blue handle, it stands out. You can see it anywhere in the wood yard. So don't lose the Pickaroon, folks. Don't lose it. If for whatever reason you want to shorten this bad boy, say that you like the 28-inch handle, but the LogRite only comes with 30-inch. Heck, you can take this power grip off, which I think is nice. It's nice having that grip. Whereas here you just had bare wood, right? So you take out the grip and take a hacksaw, bandsaw, jigsaw, sawzall, whatever. Cut this aluminum handle to length, and then you slide this handle back on, and you're rocking and rolling in no time. Now I will say for Northern Toolsman, if you do need to replace the tip, which I guess you can, that's news to me, which is awesome. This tip right here, they do have replacement tips in stock, as well as grips to replace if this gets dirty or torn or whatever else. So that's good to know in terms of having to buy the LogRite from Northern Woodsman. And there's a lifetime warranty on the LogRite tool itself that does not include the tip or the grip. Just to let you know, but just the tool itself. And this goes to show you that at the end of the day, that this is just a fancy stick with a nail in the end. So if you don't want to spend $80 some odd on the LogRite or maybe the council tool, just get a baseball bat and ram through a leg bolt or a massive nail, and there you have it. You can make your own Pickaroon for less than $5. That's just an option. I may do that in the future just to compare how easy it is, how cheap it is, and then compare that with a council tool and then LogRite. But anyway, that's it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Remember, life's too short to be a prick, so be kind to one another. Rock and roll. Stay safe, keep cutting. Cheers.